Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and on this video this afternoon there is lots to negotiate about. So according to recent reports, we have abandoned our search for a director of football after searching for around 2 years. Now of course this is stemming from The Athletic, and it does explain that Ed Woodward did want to appoint a director of footballing to oversee the club's transfer strategy, and there was quite a few names linked with that director's role. Obviously, Edwin van der Sar was linked with that role. Ralf Ragnick was linked with that role. I think Patrice Evra was linked with that role. So too was Paul Mitchell. So yeah, like I said, we've been in search for a director at least for the last couple of years or so. But the main explanation now why Ed Woodward is no longer interested in recommending a director of footballing is because of the impacts that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has made. Obviously, so far Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has recruited 5 players to Manchester United, and he has spent around £220 million. Obviously, last summer he recommended Daniel James in, and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire. And of course, in January, recommended Bruno Fernandes and Odion Ighalo in. But I've got to make an admission, Solskjaer did, have a successful January transfer window and that. So yeah, so now we're not going to be getting a director of football in. I said, before I wanted Man United to get a director of football in, because I did say, didn't I, that's one of the structural changes that we do need at the football club. So Ed Woodward, like I said to you, we've been very, very critical of Ed Woodward this season. We've been actually, critical of him for several years, reflecting, on us overpaying for players, because, we have overpaid for players in recent years, 75 million for Lukaku, 89 million for Paul Pogba, 50 million for Fred, 40 million for Matic, 80 million pounds to Harry Maguire. So we have been criticised in that aspect. Also, too, we're being criticised anyway with how poor our recruitment policy has been in the last 6 or 7 years or so. But yeah, Ed Woodward has been here since 2012, so I think he's now into his 8th season at Manchester United. Ed Woodward, of course, I did say, didn't I, before, he does need to move away from the footballing decisions. Ed Woodward's also been criticised, reflecting on his poor selection of managers, because Ed Woodward, I think, has sacked 3 managers, since he came to Manchester United. Of course, we sacked David Moyes after he endured 8 or 9 months with the football club. Obviously, knew Moyes was never going to succeed at Manchester United. Ferguson, obviously, of course, was at the fault for ever recommending him in. But the main explanation why Ferguson recommended him in is because there was both Scottish. And at that current time, Ferguson had a lot of time for David Moyes. So there you go. But Moyes only endured around 8 or 9 months with the football club. So he's endured the shortest tenure with Manchester United. And did recruit 2 players in. He brought, obviously, Fellaini, who's no longer here now. Fellaini endured 6 years at Manchester United, and he left back in January 2019. He went to China in Marion Fellaini, but we paid just over £27 million for him under the David Moyes era. But one matter is still at the football club. Of course, Louis van Gaal, he obviously, got sacked as well. Louis van Gaal endured 2 years, was it, at Manchester United. Our style of play was absolutely atrocious under the Louis van Gaal era. Louis van Gaal, did bring a hell of a lot of players in. He brought the likes of Angel Di Maria in. Never wanted to be at Manchester United. Of course, he brought the likes of Falcao, Schneiderlin, Sebastian Schweinsteiger, Rojo, Darmian, Martial and Luke Shaw, who of course now are still here under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. Daley Blind, Ander Herrera also brought him in, but he's no longer now at Manchester United. So Louis van Gaal brought a hell of a lot of players in, but also got rid of a lot of the players, that we did have under the Alex Ferguson era. But obviously, we did win the FA Cup under Louis van Gaal era. And of course, after him, Jose Mourinho, he got sacked after he endured 2.5 years at Manchester United, and he's endured the longest tenure with the football club since the Ferguson era. Jose Mourinho recommended 11 players into Manchester United. He recommended 11 players into the club, and I think he spent, was it around 400 million or just under 400 million pounds on players. Eric Bailly, was the first signing Mourinho made. He paid around 30 million pounds for Eric Bailly. Obviously, he also signed the likes of Fred, Matic, Lukaku, of course, is no longer here now. He also brought Sanchez and Mkhitaryan in. Did Jose Mourinho. He also brought Lee Grant in. He also brought Diego Dalot in. Brought Lindelof in as well. He's another player that Jose Mourinho brought in. Ibrahimovic, Paul Pogba. So Mourinho brought a hell of a lot of players into the football club, and the vast majority of the players are now still here from the Jose Mourinho era. I think only about 3 or 4, something like that, have left. So there you go. And the main explanations why it didn't work out under the Jose Mourinho era is because he had bad disputes with the board, bad disputes with the top players, and the board went back in the signings that he wanted to recommend in the summer of 2018. But Mourinho did win 2 trophies in his first season at the football club, and that was the Europa League and the League Cup. But yeah, so he has got rid of 3 managers, since the Alex Ferguson era as Ed Woodward. But, don't forget, Ed Woodward has been talking a lot recently anyway, like I've been keeping you up to date with. Obviously, he came out not too long ago and he's give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a transfer promise, and he insists, we will remain highly competitive in the summer transfer market. This is what, Ed Woodward did say, and he also said, he's willing to back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and he said that on numerous occasions throughout the course of this season that he is willing to back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's also reiterated it quite a few times and said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job is safe at the football club, so probably Ed Woodward does believe that Solskjaer is the foreseeable future for Manchester United. So this is what Ed Woodward, does believe. I think also too, the Glazers are willing to back Solskjaer. And, the Glazers have been here since 2005, I think. So they've been here a good 15 years now. And, we've been very, very critical of them as well because they've taken, I think, over £1 billion out of the club since they came in, the Glazers. Ed Woodward, don't forget, said a couple of weeks ago, was it now? He told the fans forum, that we will not do business as usual in the summer transfer market. So what it means in that aspect is that, we won't be spending hundreds of millions of pounds, and he also won't be spending hundreds of millions of pounds. This is, what Ed Woodward said. And he's basically, ruled big transfers out to Manchester United and that. Because obviously, a lot of clubs' summer transfer budgets will be reduced anyway due to the coronavirus pandemic. Like I mentioned to you recently, players' values, I think, have dropped by at least 15%, due to this coronavirus pandemic and that. So, yeah, so Man United are no longer in search for a director of football and that. I thought, would have got one in, to be quite honest with you. Like I said, there was a few former Man United players linked with the role. I said if we were to get one in, it would have been beneficial to recommend, someone who knows the traditions of the club and someone who's obviously, got that experience. Obviously Edwin van der Sar's got that experience because obviously, he's a CEO at Ajax. Plus he used to play for Manchester United as well, don't forget. So, so Ed Woodward now is no longer interested in getting a director of football into the football club. But like I said to Solskjaer, he's our 4th permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era, and I am willing to back him. I don't think, he will replicate Alex Ferguson's legacy, but I don't think any manager, will replicate Alex Ferguson's legacy. And we haven't dominated football since the Alex Ferguson era. Obviously, Ferguson endured 26, 27 years at Manchester United. Of course, we didn't. When we recommended him in from Aberdeen in 1986, though, he didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club, Sir Alex Ferguson. And there was our boards talking about sacking him and that, but, we didn't sack him. But he had 20-odd years of success at the football club, did Alex Ferguson. But since he left, we have been playing catch-up for the last 6 or 7 years or so. But like I said to Solskjaer does deserve more time at Manchester United. It is a transition period, and like he revealed at the beginning of the year, he's hopeful that we can get through this transition period. And Solskjaer will be given another season at the football club, definitely. He will be given another season. Even if we weren't to get qualification for the Champions League, I still think he'd be given another season at the football club. Because like I said to before the football season that got suspended, we was in a good vein of form, because we are unbeaten in our last 11 games in all competitions. I've also got to say as well, Solskjaer's promoted the youth very, very well because the young players have been given their opportunities this season. And I think, his approach to the big games have also been very, very good. Like I've mentioned on, numerous times, because we've registered like 17 points against the big 6 sides this season, which is obviously, very, very good. I still think Solskjaer needs to work out his best formation because, he's been persistently changing formation this season, and I don't think he knows his best formation. We have gone with a 4-2-3-1 a lot this season. From my own perception, doesn't really seem to suit our standards. I think, we look more expansive with 3 at the back. I think quite a few times as well we have gone with that 4-3-3 formation. That Solskjaer's approach to the games against lower opposition do need to improve though, let's be honest, because we haven't done so well against lower opposition. But you did see my video that I did yesterday. I give you Man United's best players and worst players under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era, and things have improved under the Solskjaer era. Like he's changed the tactics, the personnel's changed. We're getting, there's a lot of players that have really, really improved. We like Martial's doing well, Shaw's done well since he came back from injury. Rashford's enjoyed a very, very good season before he got injured. Fred's done very, very well because Fred's been given his opportunities. But like I said, the likes of Shaw, Martial, Fred, they all endured a very, very difficult time under the Jose Mourinho era. So let's just put that into the equation. We can win some silverware this season if the season is to resume, because, we are still in the FA Cup, winning to the quarterfinals. We are into the last day of the Europa League in that. So there you go. Yeah, Solskjaer's already revealed that, he wants Manchester United to make around 4 signings in the summer transfer market, because he believes we need around 4 signings to become title contenders. And he obviously, he still wants to continue the policy of recruiting young British players to Manchester United like he did do last summer. But yeah, I think we need probably around 4, maybe 5 signings to become title contenders. Solskjaer's obviously identified the areas in the squad where he does want to strengthen up. He wants to recommend the centre forward in. He also wants to recommend a right winger in, and he also wants to recommend a midfielder in. Obviously, there's still some reports emerging out saying that he wants to recommend a centre half, and there's been a few centre halves on our agenda, but I'm very, very sceptical that Manchester United will get a centre half in, because there's more priority areas that do need to be strengthened up. Don't forget, quite a few weeks ago, before actually Ed Woodward came out with this statement, obviously Solskjaer, did say, we will exploit the transfer market when it does open. So what it means is, he believes we can get the right calibre players into the football club. But, I think we need qualification for the Champions League, obviously, to attract players to the elite level and that. But there you go. But we could only make 1 or 2 signings in the summer transfer market and that. Like I said, Solskjaer is planning to sell around 5 or 6 players in the summer transfer market, and we are hoping to generate, we're hoping to generate over £100 million for the 5 or 6 players that we do sell. Got to credit Solskjaer as well, because he's already got rid of a lot of the deadwood. I think, we have seen a total of 9 players leave the football club since he got recommended in. Of course, we saw Ashley Young leave this year after he enjoyed 8.5 years at the club. We saw, obviously, Fellaini leave in January 2019. He was the first player to leave Man United under the Solskjaer era. Herrera, of course, left last summer. Lukaku left last summer. Sanchez, of course, went out on loan. Darmian also left last summer. Rojo and Smalling, of course, are out on loan at the moment. Dean Enton is out on loan. So yeah, he has got rid of a lot of the deadwood, but I think the players, that we are going to get rid of in the summer. I think Phil Jones is expected to leave the football club, because Phil Jones can't even get into the team. Because like I've said, we've got a lot of centre-halves in the team, and Phil Jones can't get that in there, because Phil Jones is like our 5th choice centre-half. Phil Jones is now into his 9th season at Manchester United. He has been here since the Alex Ferguson era as Phil Jones, and he's been mainly inconsistent. But if we sell him in the summer, I think we can get maybe from £10 to £15 million for him, to be quite honest with you. I think Phil Jones is only the player here now, by the way. Oh no, there's De Gea as well. I think it's just them 2 now that are here from the Alex Ferguson era. But yeah, I also expect us to get rid of Jesse Lingard and Andres Pereira, because, they're also 2 liabilities. I give you the news, didn't I, regarding Jesse Lingard recently, and he says around 4 Premier League clubs have expressed their interest in Jesse Lingard. I think Newcastle, West Ham, Leicester and Everton, I think, they're the ones that have expressed their interest in him. Lingard's got exactly a year left on his Manchester United contract, but he did say we will probably trigger that 1-year extension on, well, we could, or I don't know, but we could trigger that 1-year extension on Lingard's contract. But like I've said before, reflects on the years and his status at the football club. Jesse Lingard, he should be putting much more better performances out. But I think we do value Lingard at around 30 million. Pereira, like I've said, he's played regular this season, but that's only due to the injury to Scott McTominay, where, Andres Pereira has got a contract with the football club until 2023, but Andres Pereira only became regular last season anyway, so I do expect him, to leave the football club. And hopefully, we can get rid of Alexis Sanchez on a permanent transfer. I obviously, give you the big news on Alexis Sanchez, didn't I, on my video that I did this morning. Obviously, according to Sky Sports, it says, that Roma are interested in getting Alexis Sanchez on loan next season. Roma are interested, so that means if he does go to Roma, he will remain in Italy, will Alexis Sanchez. I'm very, very sceptical, that Roma will get him on a permanent transfer, because obviously reflects on his substantial wages, plus with how inconsistent he's been for last year, so at least. And also, with his injury problems, because Sanchez is injury prone. So if Sanchez was to go to Roma on loan next season, he would be reuniting with Chris Smalling at Roma, because don't forget, Roma got Chris Smalling off us last summer on a 1-year loan. And like Paulo Finesca recently said, Chris Smalling doesn't want to return to Man United, and he was talking about how amazing Chris Smalling's been for Roma, how humble and how amazing he's been and stuff like that. It remains uncertain at the moment, though, whether Roma are going to get Chris Smalling on a permanent transfer. I think we've said one around in the £20-odd million range if we are to offload him permanently. But we'll look for the highest bidder, but we won't take Chris Smalling back at Manchester United because he won't get in the team. Chris Smalling did enjoy 9 years at the football club. But yeah, so Roma reportedly expressed their interest in Sanchez. But I also said this to you, didn't I, this morning, that reportedly Sanchez has confirmed that he does want to return to Chile and he wants to go and join Universidad de Chile. So basically, he wants to finish his career in Chile, and also to the Universidad de Chile president has also confirmed that Alexis Sanchez does want to finish his career there. So reflect on recent reports, we have found an escape route for Alexis Sanchez, because Inter Milan don't want him permanently. We don't want him back at Manchester United. So there you go. Sanchez enjoyed a very, very difficult year. So, he's enjoyed a difficult time in Milan. He enjoyed a difficult 18 months at Manchester United. Even though he's on loan at Inter Milan, we're still paying the vast majority of his wages. We're still paying him around 300 grand a week, and Inter Milan are paying like the other £100,000 a week. There's been talk saying he will be coming back to Man United and he will be seeing out his contract. He has got a contract of us until 2022 as Alexis Sanchez. But he didn't replicate at Man United, what he did in his 3.5-4 years of Arsenal and what he did at Barcelona when he was younger under Pep Guardiola's guidance. So there you go. Obviously, I've been keeping up to date of what's been going on with Paul Pogba on a regular basis, haven't I? I think now Paul Pogba is expected to stay at Manchester United. Because obviously, you've had the Juventus sporting director recently coming out saying that teams will struggle to meet Paul Pogba's wage demands, due to the coronavirus pandemic, including Juventus. Basically, Juventus have made an admission of over their chase of Paul Pogba. So I think Paul Pogba, will be staying at Manchester United for at least another season. Don't forget, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer recently come out and said that he wants Paul Pogba to stay at Manchester United because he believes he can form a good partnership with Bruno Fernandes in our midfield. And he's actually, told Paul Pogba he wants to make him a key part of the club's future. So Solskjaer basically sees Paul Pogba as he thinks he's a foreseeable future for Manchester United in that. But I think he'd go very, very well alongside Bruno Fernandes in our midfield. He hasn't had a chance yet to play alongside Bruno Fernandes in our midfield. Obviously, if Paul Pogba was to leave the football club, then there has been a few players on our agenda who could replace him in that. But obviously, reports have been emerging out recently anyway, saying that we could only get 60 or 70 million pounds for him. We could only get 60 or 70 million pounds for him in the summer if we do decide to sell him. So we'd actually get less than what, Paul Pogba is worth. But Paul Pogba's only played 8 times this season for the football club. His appearances have been limited due to his injuries. And he was talking about not too long ago how infuriated, he has been, with his issues with injuries and that. And he says he'll hit the ground running, when the season does eventually resume, because Paul Pogba has been stepping up his fitness regime. He did have the surgery on his ankle, by the way, back in January. But Pogba sustained quite a few injuries as a Manchester United player. Don't forget, he's got exactly a year remaining on his contract at Man United as Pogba, because, we did decide not to trigger that 1-year extension on his contract. But I think, we'll extend his contract if we can convince him to stay at the football club in the summer. But I think Paul Pogba actually, wants to stay at Manchester United now. revert back, before all the football season was suspended, revert back to that. Solskjaer said Pogba will remain at Man United next season. He also, he also had Paul Pogba before that saying that he was interested in staying at Man United and he was interested in extending his contract to the football club. Don't forget Wayne Rooney said that Raphael Morrison was much, much better. Rafael Morrison, sorry, was much better than Paul Pogba. Don't agree with him on that aspect whatsoever. I know Pogba's been inconsistent, analysing the vast majority of his tenure at Man United. He has been inconsistent, but he's still overall a very, very good player because he did endure 4 good years with Juventus. Don't forget Rio Ferdinand's also been talking a lot about Paul Pogba recently because, Paul Pogba's biggest critics are Graham Souness and Roy Keane, and Rio Ferdinand, hit back at them not too long ago. But swap deals have been on the agenda, like I mentioned. Juventus, he said, willing to offer 1 or 2 of their players in a swap deal for Pogba. He said the other week that PSG willing to offer a couple of their players in a swap deal for Paul Pogba. It's recently said that Inter Milan have expressed their interest in Pogba as well. Inter Milan, don't forget, have got Mario Icardi out on loan at PSG. They've also got Ivan Perisic out on loan at Bayern Munich. I think they'll be looking to get rid of them on permanent transfers. Inter Milan have already recruited 3 players off us, don't forget. They also got Christian Eriksen in January from Tottenham, but I don't think they're too satisfied with Christian Eriksen. So this could be one of the main explanations why they're in for Pogba. Don't forget Real Madrid have been relentlessly linked with Paul Pogba. Last summer, Paul Pogba's actual preference was to make a move to Real Madrid in that. But yeah, so United fans have got different perceptions on Pogba. Some United fans would keep him and some United fans would let him go. Solskjaer knows how much of an imperative player that Paul Pogba is. And don't forget, Solskjaer did manage a Manchester United reserve team for a couple of years. And he obviously watched some of this team this day and age grow and develop. He watched Pogba grow and develop. He also watched Jesse Lingard grow and develop and that. But there you go. But, he's worth more than 60 or 70 million pounds. Is Paul Pogba definitely. Don't forget, we have actually identified our number 1 candidate to replace Paul Pogba, and that is Donny van de Beek from Ajax. So that's according to recent reports. I think Solskjaer's also himself had some negotiations with Pogba, over his future. Ed Woodward's had a few negotiations with his agent Mino Raiola and stuff. So, yeah. So, I think Paul Pogba will stay at Man United now. I really, really do. Delors, he could also leave the club in the summer. Don't forget Delors. He could also leave the club. I haven't read up about Delors recently, but, we did get him in Jose Mourinho's final transfer window. Diego Delors has only made 1 start in the Premier League this season. Has only made 1 start in the Premier League this season because he has endured a couple of injuries as Diego Delors. Obviously he's our backup right back to Wan-Bissaka, but I think it did say we have revealed our asking price for Delors and we want in the 30-odd million pound range for him. I think it said quite a few weeks ago PSG were in for him. We did get him. We paid £19 million in from Porto back in the summer of 2018. So around 5 or 6 players will leave the football club in the summer. I also do believe that a lot of players as well will stay at Manchester United. Like I already said to you yesterday, I think, the players that will stay and our best players and stuff like that, the likes of Rashford's a foreseeable future for us. I think Martial's a foreseeable future. The signings Solskjaer's recommended in are the foreseeable futures for Man United and stuff like that. Obviously, you already know the situation on Dean Henderson. Obviously, he's out on loan at Sheffield United at the moment. He's been a revelation for Sheffield United. We're reluctant to offload him permanently because we see him as a long-term replacement for De Gea, but we are going to be loaning him out for another season, I think. Whether he stays at Sheffield United or not, I do not know. But like I said, David De Gea is going to remain our number 1 goalkeeper for next season. He's been our number 1 goalkeeper anyway for several years as David De Gea. So there you go. But like I said, I'm sceptical that Solskjaer has a foreseeable future for the club, because we have enjoyed our worst start ever to a Premier League season, but he does deserve more time at Manchester United because, Solskjaer, when he came in, he was basically left for something to build on. He was left for something to build on, basically. And he's still in the process of rebuilding this Man United team because he's inheriting other players that other managers brought in. So let's just put that into the equation as well. And he has brought 5 players in, like I mentioned, which is a very, very good start. So there you go. So he's got rid of 9 players so far. So if you can get rid of another 5, that'll be around 14, 15 players he has got rid of, and that. So there you go. By the way, now I want to give you some news on the Premier League return. Now let's give you some news on that. And I think a lot of people would have been updating you about this recently. So reportedly, the Premier League are working on a 7-week festival. A 7-week festival if the season resumes. Now, reportedly, the season has to resume by the 19th of June. Reportedly, if the season cannot be resumed by the 19th of June, then it said that, the season will be cancelled and that. And like I've said to you before, it would be interesting to see how it would implicate the leagues and stuff if the season, if the season was to be cancelled, would Liverpool get the title? Would they be denied it? Would Leeds and West Brom come up from the Championship? Would the teams in the relegation zone, be relegated, or would relegation be scrapped? I actually heard that some clubs have actually said that relegation should be scrapped if games are to be played at neutral stadiums, because there has been talks of, games being played at neutral stadiums. But there you go. The football has been suspended since, is it the 12th or 13th of March? It's been suspended now for a good, 7.5 weeks or something like that. And, we are all missing football. We really, really are. Now, so if it can't resume by the 19th of June, then I think, if it reports are to be believed, it will be cancelled. It needs to start by the 19th of June in order for the season to be completed, because there is 92 games to play in all competitions. Now, UEFA have come out and they've said, the UEFA, that games, European leagues, need to be completed by the 2nd of August. So this is what, UEFA have come out and basically said. So, like I said, the Premier League are working on the 7-week festival of the season. But, there's been all sorts of different, things coming out. There was obviously talks about it resuming on the 6th of June. Then there was talks about it resuming on the 8th of June. I think probably the season will resume before the 19th of June, if I'm going to be quite honest. Maybe the first game could start on the 13th or maybe the 14th of June. To complete, the season, if it resumes, you're going to have to play a good 2 or 3 games a week, to be quite honest with you. I was hearing that FA Cup game, League Cup and FA Cup games possibly could be scrapped next season as well. So there you go. But if the season does resume, then obviously games are going to be played behind closed doors due to public health reasons. I've been hearing rumours saying that games will be played behind closed doors until 2021. That has also been confirmed as well. And again, if the season wasn't to resume, who would get qualification for the Champions League? That'd be down to UEFA to obviously, make that decision. And I was also hearing that there could be 23 teams in the league next season. 23 teams in the league next season. And he said there'd be around 44 fixtures and stuff like that. So yeah, I think the Premier League did have a meeting not too long ago. They did have a meeting, did the Premier League, and I think it did say they're going to be having another meeting, didn't they, to establish plans for the remainder of the season and stuff. Obviously, you've had Liga 1 that's been cancelled. Liga 1 has been cancelled. The French League, but PSG got given the title. The Eredivisie has been cancelled and that. A lot of sporting events anyway have been cancelled due to this coronavirus pandemic. Obviously, I think, Boris Johnson will ease the restrictions on May the 7th. I think his schools are going to be open in June and stuff like that. So there you go. And obviously, that's it. That's the news on that. And, I've been keeping up to date, with the players that have been on our agenda. I've been keeping up to date with what's been going on with Jadon Sancho recently. There's a chance we could sign him. We definitely are willing to offer him our number 7. He will be our next number 7 if he comes to Man United, Jadon Sancho. Also, too, Jack Grealish, he's another one of our priority targets. Adrian Rabiot, we've been in for him in the last couple of days. Don't forget I give you the news regarding Adrian Rabiot not too long ago. It mentions that we've scouted him several times this season and we've expressed our interest. That's stemming from Tutor Mercato Web. Also, too, I've obviously, give you the news on, the strikers that we've been in for. I give you the news on Kane recently. I've been keeping up to date what's been going on with Haaland. The news on Ighalo. I think we probably are going to get Odion Ighalo on a permanent transfer. Moussa Dembele, I give you the news regarding him the other day as well. Reportedly, he'd find it hard to turn down a move to Man United. So there has been a lot of strikers on our agenda. So let's just put that into the equation. But yeah, and that's everything to update you today, guys. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.